Hiya, my name's Sam. I'm 40 years old and I'm an office worker. I live in the West Midlands. I was compelled to contact Anna's channel because I wanted to give my two pence worth really regarding the past year or so and the whole COVID narrative. I think it's a very good thing what she's doing with the channel, building an alternative media outlet away from the mainstream. I think that's very important in this day and age. So other points of view, normal people like me, our opinions are heard. We certainly can't do it at the ballot box at the moment. And it seems to me in the mainstream, opinions that don't fit in with the narrative are just being completely ignored. So I thank her for that. Me, myself, with the whole COVID agenda, it was hard to know what to think about it at first. It certainly was an unprecedented kind of happening in my lifetime. But I smelt a rat in what they were saying from the start, really. If you remember back, we just come out of World War Three, or we hadn't really, because it didn't really happen. We come out of what was going to be pushed as the conflict with Iran, and we were going to have World War Three, and the world was going to get destroyed, and that didn't happen. I think that was certainly a case of the media overblowing things, and so then this virus comes over, supposedly from a bat. We still don't know exactly where it came from, but it's certainly a question that needs to be answered. And it's a virus so deadly you could have no symptoms. And I thought, well, wait a second, that doesn't really seem right. It's a very, very weird time. The government seems to do a complete 360, because if you remember way back when this was emerging, certain countries in Europe, Italy, for example, would go into these lockdowns, and our response seemed to be more in tune with Sweden than it did Italy, in terms of it was a more measured approach, really. I think the NHS, this has been pushed as a religion, really, that you can't criticise. I think that was happening before, but it's just reached epidemic levels now. And I do think that we should be protected by the NHS rather than them protecting us. And what are we protecting with lockdowns? Seems to me like we're protecting Jeff Bezos's and Amazon's and Tesco's and Asda's record profits, because we're in a situation now where certain corporations, the mega rich, have got a lot to gain from keeping this whole thing going, because it's been the result of it. I think we can all agree, no matter what political opinion we're from, is that people are suffering, small businesses are suffering, people are suffering with mental health and all this sort of thing. And you've got to generalise that society and say, is it really worth it? I would say no. I mean, I do think COVID does exist. I'm not a COVID denier, but I think it's clear after a year that it only really affects a small proportion of the population. That's why I think it's complete lunacy and illegal to keep millions of healthy people locked up and restricted in their own houses. I mean, an essential business is essential if it provides for you or a service to the community. So that business is essential. You've had so much dodgy stuff going on. The Tory party giving out contracts to their mates, and Matt Hancock was defending his actions like he'd do it again because he's saving lives and all this sort of thing. You've got the false positives of the PCR test, the dodgy death certificates, and the whole thing is incredibly questionable, to say the least. That's why I think media outlets like this are very, very important. And I thank you for listening to me today and taking the time out to do that. The only thing I'll say is, don't let them grind you down. Be free, be a positive person and be yourself. Bye.